podcast to happen like in a van like this, but
Yeah,
I,
I like it's funny like seeing my interviewer in a vehicle too. I'm like used to
right?
people being like behind a desk or something, and I'm the weirdo in a car.
Nope, I'm also the weirdo in the car too. So
Yeah, nice.
I like to meet all my weirdos, and then I have my people on YouTube who follow me who also like weirdos like us. So here we are.
Oh yeah.
All right. So if you're watching this at home, welcome to the In My Element podcast. I'm here with Nikita, who is also a fellow van lifer slash car lifer slash traveler. So I'm super stoked to have you here with us today.
Hello, good morning.
So before we actually started going live, yes, it's recording. Before we went live, she's like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm staring in front of the beach." Where are you, Nikita?
I am staring at a Planet Fitness. Living the life.
You gotta keep it real, man.
Yeah. This is where I slept last night.
That's awesome. You wake up in the morning, you got the shower, bathroom, working out, ready to go.
Yeah, it's right here. It's almost like I live in a house or something.
Almost. So can you share with us like what state, where are you in the world?
Yeah, I'm in Northern California. It's my home base, although I kind of just recently quit my stationary job. So I'm now freed up to be wherever I want, but I don't know what to do with that. So I've still just been in Northern California.
I mean, that's incredible. I was looking at your like TikToks, and I think you used to work with butterflies or something. What's up with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I like kind of kept it under wraps for a while. I didn't want people to be able to find me, but now that I don't work there, I worked at a butterfly farm where we would breed and handle and feed butterflies and ship them to people who wanted to buy butterflies to release in memory of their loved one, like at a funeral
Oh
or at
man,
weddings and things like that.
that's
Yeah.
that's really awesome.
Yeah, it was a very interesting, unique job. I miss it. I hesitated to quit because it was so cool to, I mean, I handled hundreds of butterflies a day. It's pretty great.
Yeah, but I feel like you have this freedom now, and with the van lifing, and you can be like go wherever. So it's kind of hard to keep that like stationary job.
Yeah, I was able to have winters off, which is not ideal. I would prefer to work winters. So it was kind of the opposite
Yeah.
of the ideal job uh, in sense of like when it was in season, because it was in season spring to autumn, which is when I want to be doing things. So
Yeah.
it's definitely been worth leaving.
So I think last year I saw that you kind of did like this like big long road trip. Like you went to all these like national parks. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like what were some of the highlights, the places you've been?
Yeah, like I said, since that's a seasonal job, starting November, I hit the road. And actually, one of the very first things I did is met up with vehicle lifer Billy Webb in
Okay.
LA. We hadn't met before. She was the first person I was exposed to that also had lived in her car. And but prior to that, I had never met anyone else who lived in their vehicle. So I was super isolated in that sense. So I finally met up with her in LA and we ended up hitting it off and we traveled a lot over the next 3 months all over the US together. We went to like, I don't know how many national parks, but maybe like 15 we really were trying to hit some. So
Yeah.
we knocked quite a few off the list. Like I went all the way up to New York City, down to Florida. We met like each other's parents and stuff. And then
Cool.
came back across and back across and back across. Yeah, it was a great time. I think probably Angel's Landing in
Oh yeah.
Zion might have been my favorite hike. And Sedona, Arizona was super cool too. That was the whole event, the whole 3 months were awesome.
I every time I go on Angel's like TikTok and Angel's Landing, they're like the most dangerous hike in all the world. And
Yeah,
it's crazy because it is pretty sketchy,
it
but
is
it's
dangerous.
it's not like that sketchy in my opinion.
No, yeah, I'm glad you're saying that actually, because while we were up there, one of my friends, it might have been Billy, was like, this is supposed to be the most dangerous hike in the US. And I was like, oh, well, that's bullshit. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
no.
like disappointed because it was dangerous. Like, yes, if you slipped, you could definitely die. But to me, danger is more like it's very likely that I will slip,
Yeah.
That's dangerous. So I didn't feel like I was gonna fall. My feet was under the ground was under my feet the whole time. I'm like, yeah, sure. If I did slip, I would die, but also I'm not going to. So
Yeah.
this isn't dangerous. Like that seemed like a little bit of a joke to me.
They're definitely doing it for clicks, and it definitely works. So kudos to them. Whatever.
Yeah, somebody find me a more dangerous hike though.
I feel like we have to talk about the elephant in the room right now, and that's Gabby Petito.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that is
yeah,
the elephant in the room, isn't it?
yeah. And I feel like you probably have an interesting perspective because you're like a female van lifer, so it just becomes a little bit like there's more dangers, I guess, being a female van lifer as opposed to someone like me who's a male. I don't think about those things as much.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah, I definitely
yeah,
I feel like, of course, in any lifestyle, unfortunately, being a female, especially being a smaller female, at least speaking from my perspective, it's something I think about every single day, all the time. Um, whether something tragic just occurred or whether anything has ever happened to me before, if I'm like leaving work at night, I'm hyper aware of like, do I hear footsteps behind me? Is there anybody? I check under my car. Like
yeah,
I am very uh frightened by the real possibility that somebody could get me. And so yeah, unfortunately
yeah.
females go through that. But um, I do of course feel like living in a vehicle does make you a little more vulnerable, and definitely for the first several months, maybe even over a year of living in my car, I was even more wary and even more paranoid about my safety. I have like nightmares pretty regularly that somebody's breaking into my car or
Oh no.
peeking in or something like that, because it is very much so on my mind. And that danger is very real. But it's interesting how much the Gabby Petito story has become so van life related, because while yes, she was traveling in her van, and actually the same van that I have, um, it was obviously a domestic situation, which is not cool, and a danger in itself in a whole other way. But yeah, I've had journalists reach out to me in the past couple of days to talk about it, and I just have thought, I was surprised. I've been thrown off that it's taken a spin more towards van life versus domestic violence.
Yeah, and that's definitely the bigger issue here. It's like I feel like most of the time the danger comes from people unfortunately, like family members or loved ones and stuff like that. And it's maybe less likely that it's gonna be just a random stranger under your car at night.
Yeah.
Um, man, yeah, I don't know why. I just it was so sad. Like it seemed like she was just starting her journey, like something maybe they wanted to like do, and they like just set off, and there's all this like kind of mystery of Brian Laundrie not like cooperating. It's really weird, and
Mm-hmm.
it's it's you want to place the blame on him, and it seems like it's to him, but there's really no proof or evidence, and
Right.
so it's yeah, and
We still definitely don't know, although definitely my instinct is like, no, it
yeah,
was him.
right.
But yeah, you're right, we don't know for sure. And my mind is still just like, no, it's him. But
Right. No.
I do think it brings a little, obviously it's still relevant to the awareness of traveling with someone, traveling with your partner, and the stresses that it can bring about. Because not to like pin anything on van life, we don't know anything about what happened, but perhaps it brought about a little more stress, because living in what is that? The cargo space in that van is like 5 feet by 6 feet.
Yeah, it's so small.
Yeah, living in that small of a space could have brought about a little more stress and like played a part in things maybe exploding.
Yeah, man, what what a terrible story, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Uh,
the worst outcome, but when it first came up, I was like, I'm just hoping that, they find her, that maybe she got lost. Maybe my instinct at first was like, okay, maybe they had a dispute and then maybe he just left her. He's like, all right, I'm done. I'm taking the van, I'm out. That's what I was like hoping for.
yeah, that's definitely what I was hoping for. I was hoping she would pop up, and then at the end of all of this, like once everything's settled, she would have like a small win in a way, obviously going through whatever would have happened if she was still around would still be its own stress, and that would suck. But her small win would be it did gain her this following, and that's something she wanted, and which is sad to look at now. Now she
Yeah.
has so many followers, and it's like this bittersweet thing of like, damn, that's what she really wanted. And now it's there.
Ugh,
She's gone.
man.
So that's a sad thing to look at, but it's also kind of sweet that even though she's not around, she did get a following in the wrong way. But
Yeah. Well, she'll forever be in our memories, like
right, yeah,
she's a part of the American story now. Like, yeah. So
yeah,
I feel like the van life is kind of like the American story, like the search for adventure and the search for freedom and just getting out there and exploring. And I yeah, it's just sad.
yeah. It's nice that she did get to do that before she was taken away too soon, but she got to like pursue this dream that she
Yeah.
wanted of living in a van, traveling the US and becoming a YouTuber. And she got to be a part of the van life community for too short of a time, but she did it.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, man, it's terrible. Okay, we gotta switch this up here. Oh my gosh. So you grew up in Italy, right?
So I was born in Italy. I
Okay.
don't know. Did you find that somewhere?
You must have been on TikTok somewhere where you're like, I grew up in
Oh
Italy.
yeah. Okay.
I had
Yeah.
to do
So
my research before this, like to come up with
I'm
things
like,
to
where
talk.
did I say that? Yeah, you're right. I have
Okay.
a short little TikTok. Yeah, I was born in Italy, but I moved to the US with my family when I was just a few years old. I
Okay.
grew up in northern Florida.
Oh wow. And then you
An
came out
awesome
to
place.
the West Coast. You lived in the West Coast?
Just for the past 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
still
Yeah.
pretty new.
It's a beautiful area up there, and I wonder how, like, I don't know if like you're in the Bay Area, but how that would be like van lifing in the Bay Area. I feel like parking would be like so difficult, and like the hills,
Yeah,
you can't really park on
yeah.
the hill and like try to sleep like this.
I've always thought about that. So I live 2 hours east of San Francisco, and obviously I've been over that way. I've always thought about like how do people park on those hills are intense, but I have friends that like one friend in particular that's been in his van in San Francisco, like in the heart of San Francisco for like 3 years. I'm like, how are you doing it? But he has like this whole routine
Yeah.
where he knows when street cleaning is, so he knows to move for that. And then as soon as they pass by, he swoops in and gets whatever awesome spot that he can stay at until they roll back around for the next week.
Yeah, I've done it one time actually, just visiting, and
Yeah.
yeah, I drove up to, I think it's something Twin Peak, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went up there and I was like, this looks like a nice neighborhood, and I'm in a Honda Element, so no one would know any
Right.
different. So I found a nice flat spot. And I'm like, this is awesome. I was in like the clouds. It was great.
Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah.
actually thought about staying there when I went there too, but I was like, I don't know if it would work out. So I ended up staying at like, oh, where did I stay actually? Oh, I had my car. It was before I lived in my car, and
Okay.
I would just travel in my car and sleep in it. Um, and actually, my car was broken into that day, so never mind. I did. San
Like
Francisco is not the place. I don't know how people do it.
I know, because like there's people who put signs like, "Hey, don't break into my window. There's nothing
There's
here."
nothing in here. Yeah.
Oh man, it's such
And
a
it's so common. Like I have a friend there. She doesn't live in her car or anything, but her car has been broken into like 6 times in the course of a year and a half or 2 years. That's so
It's
much.
6. That's crazy.
6.
I would just for that I couldn't live there. I'd be so
No,
like, yeah.
no way. Or like keep all my windows broken or something. I don't know.
Just leave it rolled down and be
Just
like, all
leave them
right,
all down.
yeah. Just so let's talk a little bit about the vehicle you're in now. You're in like a Honda Civic or something, right?
Yeah, Honda Civic.
I I think that's awesome because a lot of people stress so much like I gotta get the big Sprinter van. I gotta get the big Pro Master. Like I can't start van life until I do this. But in reality, like anything you have can be like your van life vehicle, you know? So
Right.
like
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm sure that how did that come about?
So after I moved out to California, which is rolling up on 2.5 years ago, um, after a few months, I noticed that I was my banking account was just sinking. I started living very paycheck to paycheck. I was commuting too far from work, and so I was like spending too much money on that. My rent was a little bit higher than Florida, but honestly, both places I got, both Florida and out here in California, have had very cheap rent. Still not affordable for me. And my hours at work, which I transferred out here, sank. I got way less hours for whatever reason. Full time became 28 hours a week. So I struggled. And after months of letting that stress of being broke, letting that like emanate throughout every bit of my life, I didn't realize until I became happier and more free and stable just how sad I was, but I
Mm.
was pretty jacked up. Enough that I was like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep paying rent. Like if I could stop paying rent, that would solve so much of this for me. That would obviously save me hundreds of dollars a month. So I began to think about living in my car, and I just started making plans. I have this notebook actually, where I started making plans of like, okay, where would you park? Where would you hang out during the day when it's hot? And I like went through what issues would arise and how I would solve them. And after I thought about it and like hesitated for probably 3 months, I was like, enough is enough. I'm still stressed. This still sucks. And I keep thinking every single day about moving into my car. I just need to do it. So I set out to like make my window coverings
There you
and
go.
buy luggage organizers for my clothes to go into, and seat organizers on the back of my car. Like I started to set myself up, and I moved into my car. Almost, we're rolling up on like 2 years ago now. And I was relieved to find that while it has its challenges, nothing was unexpected. Everything went the way I anticipated it to go. So after I felt like this was something I could do for a while, which didn't take long for me to feel like that, then I went ahead and took that extra disposable income and put it towards a cheap vehicle payment and got my Ford Transit Connect.
Yeah, there you go. So where is that car?
That is street parked in some nice neighborhood on the other side of town. I just have to move my vehicles around. It's pretty difficult to juggle two vehicles, honestly. But I didn't want to move into my van until I was completely done building it out. I'm sure you can understand, living in construction and, glue and installation and tools in a 5 foot by 6 foot space is very challenging. I don't know where all my stuff would be. So I knew from the get-go that I didn't want to move in until I was done. And now it is almost done.
All right.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna sell it.
You said what?
I'm
What do you
gonna sell it. I realized my life has changed a bit in the past 2 years, and I know even more now that this really is a long-term thing for me. So I'm gonna get a bigger
Yeah.
vehicle. I feel like I
Okay.
deserve it after kicking it in a Civic for 2 years. I'm like, you know
Oh
what?
man.
I want to stand up when I change my clothes again. I want to have somewhere to hang up clothes and have drawers and, a sink and
And have
things.
friends. friends come over and hang
Yes,
out. My God.
that's huge for me. I
Yeah.
love hanging out with my friends and no one can come over, that sucks. So
Yeah.
that's a big part of it too for me.
Okay. So what's your dream setup then? What can you tell us? What are you eyeing?
So what I intend on getting, which we'll see what happens, but what I intend on getting is the 136-inch wheelbase ProMaster with a high
Nice.
roof.
Hell yeah.
I would love to get a bigger one, but it's so pricey, so I don't think I can. But yeah, I'm stoked I've already like mapped out. Actually, I have a notebook where I have like
All
my plans.
right. We
Like
get the alpha here. Get to see the
yeah, the behind the scenes planning. Where is my notebook?
so
Welcome to vehicle life.
so while you're doing that, I've been like searching, trying to like decipher between the ProMaster, the Sprinter, and the Transit for a year, over a year, maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
I've gone over every detail. So much of my content now has been like which van to choose, um, so yeah, it's a toss up, but I'm actually probably going to go with the ProMaster myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Which size?
the 159.
Okay.
They
Damn
just
you.
they just I've been kicking it in an Element for like 3 years. I think I deserve it too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, good for you, dude.
but
They just what?
and and I'm 30, so it's like, okay, come on, dude.
Same. I
Like,
just
yeah.
turned 30.
Oh shoot. Well, congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thanks.
But though they just released the 2022 model. I don't know if you know this.
No, I
And
didn't know.
yeah, so they have like all these nice like touchscreen and like big like 360 parking, and it's like really nice. They have all these nice features, different transmissions. So maybe you can order one if I don't know, but I'm just throwing it out there. So yeah, I'm gonna probably place my order like
Damn.
really soon, like maybe this week,
Really?
maybe, yeah.
That's so exciting.
I know. I've been talking about it for years, so it's time to make a move,
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like, a part of me wants a brand new one, of course, like most people do,
Yeah.
but I also realize that the price of the vehicle is cut in like half if it's even just a year used.
Yeah.
So I'll probably go that route. But in my dreams, I get a new one. That's exciting. That's funny. We kind of settled on a ProMaster. I like how wide and boxy it is, and
Exactly.
it's more affordable than like the Mercedes Sprinter van and such.
I dread the day like if I bought a Sprinter and I have to take it in for, I'm like,
Oof.
oof. And something that's I'm really big on is financial freedom, right? And I think you kind of were, mentioning that a little bit just now. It's like I started this to be financially free, and
Right.
so to put all this money into this big like liability doesn't seem like a wise choice. I enjoy
Yeah.
the freedom of just like, hey, I'm gonna go buy a plane ticket because I have the money I save from rent,
Right.
or
Yeah.
yeah, do whatever. It's freedom,
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny because I've gotten so much like feedback or comments about like she doesn't live in her car, she has nice things. I'm like, I have nice things because I live in my car. I get to go on trips because I don't pay rent, like that's again hundreds of dollars, and for some people who pay more for rent than I ever have, thousands of dollars that you're saving every single month. You can, if you know how to look for plane tickets, they cost a little bit less than a month's rent round trip. So you can really go places if you're not paying rent. And that is what it's all about, at least for me. If I could have a free apartment somehow and not be indebted to anyone in any way, I would probably at least part-time live in that apartment, But this is like more about freedom and like freeing up my life. But yeah, that's fucking cool. And that's great that we're good. Maybe I'll see like how you're building yours out as I'm building mine out. I'm hoping to crank out my build much faster than I did my last one.
Yeah. So I don't really have a plan. I kind of sort of know what I want to do with it, but that's kind of how I am. I'm just like, we'll figure it out as we go.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
I
not like that.
I haven't mapped it out or anything.
This is
me. Hold up. Can you hold it up again? Let me see.
Can you see that?
Oh yes, I can. Okay, you got the, let's see, you got the cooking set up, the bed. Yeah, that's perfect. Swivel seats or no?
Um, I ideally, yes, I
Yeah.
would probably buy it like aftermarket. Um, but yeah, I definitely want it to be more of a living space. Some people let the bed like take over the entire space, and I do
Yeah.
not want that at all. So I would still have like uh, a little bit smaller than a twin size that would pull out to a full size. And have some seats so I can have friends over, and ideally end up getting swivel seats so I can flip those around and have more friends over. And a
Totally.
little oven and, a fridge. Holy shit, do I miss those amenities?
Oh my God, you have no idea. Well, I guess you do have an idea.
I have a good idea. And
Oh
I
man.
miss
Yeah,
that a lot.
I know. I have a cooler, but I just never use it because it, like, the water and then all my food
It's
gets
work.
wet. It's, yeah. So I need a fridge too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where I'm at. And my cooler that I haven't had a cooler in my car until the last 2 months, and it's pretty fat. It's sitting up in my passenger seat and it takes up the whole thing. Um, and after having it there for 2 months, and one, it being mostly useless because I'm not trying to buy ice every other day. And yeah, the water ruins my food. It's not good enough. But after having this big thing sitting in my passenger seat for 2 months and being okay with it, I'm like, man, this whole time I could have had one of those little refrigerators. I thought they were too big, and I'm like, damn it, I could have had a fridge this whole time.
It's the simple things, man.
Yeah, a fridge is one alone is a big game changer.
So you mentioned earlier that you quit your butterfly job. So how are you going about, like, making money these days?
Oh yeah. So the reason that I quit is because about a year prior, so something like a year ago, I my TikToks went viral. Did not expect that at all.
That's crazy.
And yeah, my life completely changed because of that. I, now have a bit of a following on YouTube and on Instagram and TikTok, and I'm able to make enough income to sustain this lifestyle from those sources. And I contemplated for months about whether I should quit that job or not. It was very difficult to decide, but finally I realized, I can't reach my deathbed and not have tried. So if this doesn't work, if soon I need a job, cool, I did it. But I couldn't live with like what would have happened. So I was like, screw it. I'm quitting and let's see how this goes if I make a full go of this. So that's where all my income comes from now.
That's amazing. That's like the dream of most creators, is to, like, sustain themselves, but it takes a lot of courage to, like, just drop everything and, like, all right, I'm gonna go for it, you know?
Yeah, it's a commitment. I
Yeah.
can't return to that job if this doesn't go well. I have to figure something else out, and that's a little frightening.
I mean, why can't you, did you like just say, all right, everyone, I'm out? Like, did you, like, make a big
Give
scene?
them the middle
Like,
finger.
like
No,
fuck these butterflies and
no. No, I love that job. My
okay,
boss is
okay.
awesome. I left on great terms, but it's such a small place. They couldn't just bring me back on because my place will get filled and there's no more space.
Yeah.
So once I'm out unless I get lucky and maybe somebody quits at the same time that I want to come back. But otherwise, that's a done deal.
So people have the opportunity now to maybe travel with you, right? I saw something. Yeah,
Oh
yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
yeah.
shameless plug. Let's
Yeah, so I partnered up with Trova Trip, which is super cool. Not something that I ever imagined I would do. But basically I host a trip. 8 to 20 people can join me, and you like buy into this package that includes like waterfall hikes, snorkeling, canyoning, canoeing, going to, I think it's there's different temple tours, and I think a tour of a rice farm in Bali with me
Ooh.
next year in August. Yeah, I'm super stoked about that. I have some spots left that I'm hoping to fill, but past a certain point, I'm kind of like, I'm cool if it's a smaller group. Like, I want to be able to connect with everyone, but I still have spots left. Yeah, it's in August of 2022 to Bali.
Wow. That's awesome. I hear just like amazing things about Bali. It's like kind of like a real spiritual place and like a place to go and just like practice yoga and like meditate and enjoy nature and snorkeling. It's gotta be fun.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. I'm super excited to go with strangers. That's like, I mean, a big part of, you can probably relate, a big part of like living in a vehicle is this beauty in meeting strangers who also live in there. So like connecting with strangers that you have something in common with is my jam. So I'm excited to have the opportunity to go somewhere internationally with people I don't know.
That's awesome. And like speaking from experience, so sometimes I host like workshops and stuff like that. And a smaller group is a lot easier to like manage. So, like because you want everyone to have a good experience. I don't know if they're gonna have people to help you out, but like sometimes a smaller group is nicer. It's more intimate, and you get to know everyone a little bit better, and
Right.
less stress on you. But if you want to go, there's a few spots left. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can fill them all up, but yeah,
yeah.
I like the idea of like I've been to some van meets, like what's it called? Descend on Bend and stuff. And they're a good time, but it's like a couple thousand people versus I've gone to a van meet where there's been like 15 to 20 of us, give or take. And that's more up my alley. Like being able to connect with everyone there is awesome.
Totally. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for taking the time and like coming onto the podcast. It was really great to talk to you. Is there anything else you want to add before we close this out?
No, that is it. It's been nice chatting with you.
Yeah, nice. I've finally been able to connect with you. I've seen you on TikTok. I think I might have seen like your first TikTok and like because it blew up. It was like all over my For You page because I'm all over the van life stuff. And then I was like, I'm homeless. And it's like, oh, this is interesting, you know, but you really make the best out of this lifestyle. So thank you so much for sharing your story. If you guys are interested in learning more about her trip to Bali, I'll leave the link down below in the description. And of course, thank you guys for watching and see you guys